I'm not gonna include my immediate family in this, like, cause of course you got your mother, your grandmother, everything, but we don't just talk about on the journey.
I am an island warrior. Don't you forget, it's true. Yeah, it's true.
All right, so this is a different one. And I'm still letting the mic charge. So if there's a drastic dip in quality or any difference at all, y'all bear with me. Just try to get the message. Um, so teachers that I've had along the way. There's been so many. I mean, it would just, I would have to narrow it down to an extent. So the extent would be like when I was beginning my journey, fully stepping out, following my path, following my heart. Those that were very prominent, like I leaned into extensively. That's what I'm gonna try to reach for. And I'm gonna start it probably from when I got back to Johns Island up until when I decided that it was time for me to teach what I know. So early on, I would have to highlight Coach Legree. Coach Legree, what I learned from him was attention to detail. That's what he used to stress. That's what he used to emphasize. And it's a large part of my makeup and my character right now. I was so reserved by the time I got to the island that I didn't even go out for, it was partially because I didn't get to the school. I went to another school before I got to St. John's, so I missed like the first week or two, and they were already playing, so I assumed like, I already missed this year. I'll just spend this year getting acclimated and go out next year once I do. I was good at football. Like, it's something I could do. So where I was, I should have been trying to press to see if I could get on, but I'll just wait, all passive and whatever. He came up to me and had a conversation with me and asked me if I played ball and if I wanted to. I told him yeah, and I was out there the next day. And that started my playing time at St. John's. He always looked out for me. We would spend time after practice talking about plays. I would draw up plays, and I don't think he didn't ever use any of them, but we had that type of relationship. He would unlock the locker room and let me go and dub tape because they weren't doing it for us. So it would be nighttime, and I'd be up there dubbing tape, and whenever I got done, times he would take me home. So he was always there. Even when I stopped playing, he would see me around. He'd be like, man, you still can go do it. It was him saying that a time or two that encouraged me to do it. So I say attention to detail came from, this is not to discredit anybody else. And if you offer me something and I don't mention you in this video, don't feel no type of way. It's just, we'll have more. But attention to detail is the feature that I most remember from Coach Legree. After that, I have to highlight the Solomon family. Coach Cedric first. Solly always had a can-do type of spirit and attitude. You could dream big around Solly, and he ain't gonna even if it was like unrealistic or whatever, he would say it in the form of, we gotta start with this. Like, you always felt like you can do around Solly, and Solly was always around. He had a small school, so he was involved in most sports, and to have somebody who was respected, not only locally, but went on and played at the level you were at the time trying to get to, that down to earth and that involved and that selfless, like that you took a lot from that. Solly always had that can-do spirit. And he's funny too. He'll keep it real with you, He will tell you how it is. You might not like what he's saying, but you gotta respect it because you knew what his heart was. I would say Miss Moss and Major Moultrie. Miss Moss more so because what I'm doing now and me developing and spending time writing what is essentially poetry and expressing it, that was everything she was about. Legendary teacher on the island, actually related to me. She taught my aunts, my uncles, my mama. So by the time I got to her, I was already, she already knew how she was going to approach this, And she did just that. She would pick and prod and she wouldn't let you be comfortable, but she would let you be you. And what I mean by that is it might not make sense to y'all and sound bad to y'all, but she knew what I was going through at home as far as my mom and all of that. And if there were days where I just came down and put my head down, she wasn't going to harass me. She wasn't going to write me up or, she'll tell you get up. She just ain't going to let you snooze. But I feel like because there's a connection outside of just teacher and I got to make marks and all of this, like she knew how to get through to me, every morning our bus got there first and she got there early and I would help her get her things inside whether I wanted to or not because she wasn't going to not let me do it. But she would always, as much trash as she talked, she would always have those moments where she was like, you got a talent, like you got a gift, like you really could do this. I remember going on field trips with her and it was theater stuff, even though I was too cool for school. I really didn't, but looking back, man, I should have been interested in it because I wouldn't mind acting now. Like, if I could hold the camera and record myself, I would have so many more videos. I'll just say that. So I'm just saying that to say all of that stuff, theater, poetry, music, all of that, like, would have helped me for what I ended up doing because it was her voice that I heard in my head over and over again telling me that I had a talent if I just leaned into it. So when I first had the thought or the inspiration to even try to make a song or whatever, one of the key components was you always could write, and there was a reason she would tell you that, So, yeah, Miss Moss played a major. I had to give her a salute. Then I would say the next, what I would like to say, master teacher. And I'm not gonna include my immediate family in this, like, cause of course you got your mother, your grandmother, everything. But we don't just talk about on the journey. Was the other Coach Solomon, and that was Solly's brother, ex-military man. Man, that man, the Solomons are so selfless, man. Like the amount of time that he's put into the community, not only this one, basically revolutionized this one and then went down to the country and revolutionized theirs too. And I don't care what nobody say, when he was there, it only took 2 years or so, a year, and they were in state. Like, whenever you call, never told you no. Meet me in the weight room. Can we go to the weight room? Never told you no. Day in, day out, day in, day out. It was that 10th grade year going into 11th grade year that he came back to the island. And it was me, Diamond, Jose, Pedro, and CL. We the only one, and Carvel. We the only ones. Oh, I'm name dropping. My bad, y'all. But there's only like 5 or 6 of us. And we would be there every day in the summer. And he just never stopped until I graduated on through college. Even when I stopped playing, it was the message that was passed through him. Somebody was at my house and they told me, hey man, Coach Solly said he disappointed in you. And when I heard that, I instantly realized what I was supposed to be doing and what I was doing. Like, I had got comfortable taking a break. And I immediately went, when I heard that, I can't have that, because I remembered everything he put in. That I guess there was some part of me to feel like no one really cared, but the fact that he would say that showed me that he cared. So I pulled up on him, and he told me how he felt, and he handed me an application, and it was to go back to school. And he was just like, son, just go. And I filled out that application, and I went. And from there, I didn't stay at that school, but I got my GPA up. I transferred out and ended up where I ended up. But he taught me physical strength. Like, y'all don't, this is my boxing body, but I've had like 6 or 7 different bodies. But how to build a body, how to understand building a body, maintaining a body, fine-tuning a body, I can do it. And I definitely got that from him. Definitely got that from him. And not only that, he had a wisdom that he was unselfish with too. You know, at the time I was like anti-Bible and everything, and we would go back and forth with things that I was thinking, and he wouldn't waver on his faith or whatever. And I just remember one time he told me in the car, he was like, son, if you spend as much time getting into the Bible that you spend into everything else, you're going to sit back and be like, what was I doing? And at the time I was like, all right, whatever, you know. Because in my mind, I'm thinking that when everybody called Jesus and everything, and I still have things to say about that, but I'm thinking the blue-eyed pale person, and I'm linking it to like how societies run. So I'm just like, I'm not on that. But sure enough, when I went through everything I could go through and came back to the book with new eyes, I had to say, what was I doing? Because even if we don't subscribe to it or not, if you look at it from the lens like, these are my people, that I'm this, like, we're that special that we have this book that the world covets, it gives you a different perspective. And not only that, when you get into the word, there's just so many undeniable pieces of wisdom in there that the wisdom is there. So Sarge, Coach Solomon, the Solomons played a major role. And then from there, when I went back off to school, I ended up in Columbia. No, I can't skip Miss Dredd. Miss Dredd was a big part of this too. She started my locks. She had a different outlook that at the same time of me going back and forth with Coach Solomon, I was getting this part of it too. And it was more of a like, I don't want to say a blackness because I don't like that word, but it was just a different perspective that she had that was more like rooted in nature and what's natural and our natural state, and getting back to that. So she spent a lot of time counseling with me and stuff. She's, like I say, she started my locks. She was the one who opened the Bible and showed me what the Nazareth vow was, so that I understood that it was something sacred to actually lock your hair. So I never dyed it. I never did any of that extra stuff. At one time, I was woolly mammoth out because it wasn't about, through her, I realized that it wasn't about the style. It was about the journey that you're about to go on. So she did that. She opened up that book and she said, this is what you're about to do. She started my locks and she counseled me. And I can't go on without mentioning her. But she always encouraged me as well to keep on keeping on with what was destined for me to do. And from there, I remember going to Columbia, where I met Kuru, owner of the shop Orion's Oracle. And I was like in search of, to the fullest extent then, like going through it. But so that was a spiritual resting place for me. He had a restaurant and he had a couple stores. And basically, he had the type of environment where it was like, yo, you family now, and I'm gonna learn you. We're going to drop the science on you. You know, we're going to help you with detachment and all of that. And there was some other brothers there in the camp too. He took us on. He gave us jobs. We could work. Hey, we got 2 shops. Y'all make it happen. Like, you know, like if you see something need to be done, take like ownership in what you're doing. And that was a good feeling at the time, to feel a sense of ownership, not to have to go clock in and, like, feel the corporate setting. Like, this was actually a melanated man that had things and was like, we gonna run this like family. Like, y'all treated like, that was cool at the time. And not only that, a ton of science, a ton of information, man. A ton of information. That was definitely like the comedic phase. That's the angle he was coming from, in search of my art balance. I remember at the time he was like, I'm 44 years without eating flesh, all of that. And we would do our sun salutations, and gradually he would learn us as giving us a resting place, a place to be ourselves, and a place to make a few dollars, But ultimately, he ended up telling me the same thing. He had a ceremony for me, gave me a name and all of that. And I still know my name that was given. And he also told me, kept it a buck with me, like, you ain't in no position to be quitting nothing. So, like, I was in school at the same time. That's when I was in school in Columbia. Yeah, K.O.J.I played a big part. Let me see. Who would I consider a master teacher of mine outside of the immediate family? That might have been it. Because even when I was with K.O.J.I, I was starting to feel like, a lot of this stuff, a lot of it was just pointing back to you, like yourself. I think K.O.J.I was the last real leaning in on, searching for wisdom master teacher that I had in that regard. That's when I began to come into my own. Because even a lot of things that I had learned, like with Dread, that's when I stopped eating meat. All it took for her was to say, like, imagine looking down at yourself and you're eating flesh and you leave behind bones. Like, she said something like that, and I went cold turkey for like 8 years. I learned, do the sun salutations or you're gonna fall into a mundane reality through K.O.J.I. And I don't keep up with a lot of those things. I'm still getting back, because when I went back to school and played ball, I got off track, went back to the world. And I'm just saying, like, it's worth mentioning them because there are things that I know that I need to get back on to my fullest extent. Like, I know better in a lot of ways. So, yeah, I would say those are, for now, I'm going to stop there. And naturally, once I turn the camera off, I'm going to remember somebody. So like I say, we're gonna keep doing this, man. This is therapy, just opening up to y'all. Because even, that's what time it is. So again, let me know some of the people that made an impact on y'all's journey, some of the lessons you learned, some of the people that created a space for you to just be when you really needed it the most, Again, comment if on YouTube. You want a direct link, hit up the email. We'll make it happen. If you got the direct link and that's how you usually do it, send it straight to me. All right, till next time.
My every battle's won and the table said it's true. Yeah, it's true. Oh, yeah.